아상은 저 랑리 거시로와 다 되는 자가 가지래 단단한 저 로릭 세디 로디라 마주규라 유지긴 로디 지상한 주기 신의 유직제 대신견제 지상 유들라能这个文具社当军事国교신도国교社지 좀 유수며 같이 근데 하고 간데라 로그 수하고서 로당 강사게 하고 거와 데니기 하고 로델야 안 릭미도와 가서 요래서는 뒤요래서 로릭 뒤에서 내가 저게 가서 무슨 세마 제시 되네 나라망아 봐 이주 아니 제좀 로시에서 데 로릭 미도와 마서는 데니기 뒤요래서 시시로
Good morning. Last night we started by looking at again at self-knowers. And self-knowers, when we came to before coming to look at self-knowers, then we addressed why we're looking at this topic. So we have to put it in a context. We spoke about that there are objects and that possesses objects. So objects can be divided, as we saw last night, into three: objects which are manifest, objects which are hidden, and objects which are very hidden. So all objects can be divided in one of these three. Objects can be divided in one of these three ways. And what knows the objects? So that would be a knower or an awareness, or it could be a person. Last night we spoke a bit more about awarenesses or knowers, and then we mentioned the sevenfold division of Lorig, or the sevenfold division of awareness and knowers. Lo being awareness, Rig being knowers. And the sevenfold division are direct valid cognizers, inferential valid cognizers, correct assumption, subsequent cognition, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubt, and lastly, wrong consciousnesses. So this is one way of dividing awarenesses into these seven, and it's these awarenesses which know objects, and the objects can be divided into three: manifest, hidden, and very hidden.
제 왕셰사다 이기셰바스 딩이나를 뒤르고래 왕셰사다 이시바 로딜라 리까지 여바이네 차상 왕셰사다 이기셰바스 디리는 이나가 뒤르고래.
And another alternative way that awareness can be divided, alternative to the sevenfold division, is a twofold division, where awarenesses are divided into sense consciousnesses and mental consciousnesses.
왕셰 세디 왕보 세딩아 주디리 미기 셰바 나웨 셰바 미기 왕보레 티니키 셰바체 나웨 왕보레 티니키 셰바 텐데 왕보레 티니키 셰바 제 왕보 루기 왕보레 티니키 셰바 왕셰가 요레 니가 디게 가르유 가르도 고서는 지단에 아니 원숨 이릭티기 도토고레 고규 이릭티게 아니 도고 말와 나 이기 셰바세디기 원숨 이릭당 고규 이릭 니가 도토고르와 이기 셰바세 원주 이게 도고래 원주 최대기 도고래는 고교 최대 차상 도고래.
The sense consciousnesses can be further subdivided into five, corresponding to each of the five senses. So there's the eye sense consciousness, the ear sense consciousness, the nose sense consciousness, the smell, the taste sense consciousness, and tactile sense consciousness. So these are the five. And then amongst the three types of objects, they realize manifest objects. Hidden and very hidden objects, these are realized by mental consciousnesses.
So 다 가려요 말은 태좀 해야 되나 태좀요 말에 아니 이주 해야 돼요 말에 이주다 태좀 니데 와셔라요 말에
제바키 참아대 콜로스
제바키 시메 와시 나라 가려요서네 몬숨요레 세마요레 지시요레 나라망바요레 나네 록시요레 로릭 듄나네 nga요레 다니요 말 가려요 말서 이주요 말에 안에 가소레 이주제 안 태숨세 딩이요 말에
Sense consciousnesses, as we heard, can be divided into 5 corresponding to the 5 sense powers. So another aspect to be aware of is the sense consciousnesses. What is their relationship with the sevenfold division of awareness? So within sense consciousnesses, there are those which are direct perceptions, there are those which are valid cognizers, those which are the subsequent cognitions, non-ascertaining awarenesses, and wrong consciousnesses, which are of the sevenfold division. What is not, what cannot be a sense consciousness is doubt and correct assumption. So doubt and correct assumption cannot be a sense consciousness, but those that can be are wrong consciousnesses, non-ascertaining awarenesses, and subsequent cognition, valid cognition, and direct perception.
근데 이기 셰바나라 차상용고래 이기 셰바나라래 무슨묘래 아니 체마요래 지시요래 아니 나라마바용고래 로셰 태좀요래 로셰요래 로릭 듄나네 차상요래 이기 셰바 인겐 로릭 듄 차상인게 요래
데니케는 논섬당 체마 송핑페 제바키 양겨 송메하
제바키 로릭 듄나래 제바 장고요 말어와 무슨다 체마라데 체마나라 예와치 무슨 체마 제바 체마요로와 제자 Lorig Dunane, Yigisheba Nala Gazayers and Dunga Yoreje.
Mental consciousness, on the other hand, these all 7 of the sevenfold division of awarenesses can be included within mental consciousnesses. So mental consciousnesses include direct perception, valid cognition, as well as subsequent cognition, correct assumption, non-ascertaining awarenesses, doubt, and wrong consciousness. So all of them can be included in mental consciousnesses.
Da lorik dunane manzo shedo lorik le dunye wachi dangbo da ngosum sel shedwa da ngosum shedo ngosum dinalo ya manzo ge yewal mason desen mason hicherwa da ngosum ya wangbe ngosum ani yiji ngosum da ring ngosum najo ngosum sedi desen hicherwa hiyorwa yewadel masona.
The sevenfold division of awareness and knowers. Then the first one is direct perception. So we started looking at that at the top of page 3. And we see that direct perception then, the first of the sevenfold division, has 4 subdivisions. Sense direct perception, mental direct perception, self-knowing direct perception, and yogic direct perception. So these are, this is at the top of page 3.
Da dinaji da dangbo ngazo shichi de dangbo wangbo ngosum la rewa wangbo ngosum de la ane ngazo migi wangbo ngosum cheni ne wangbo ngosum de la nanglo che de wangbo ngosum nanglo la che de ya nga cha ro wangbo migi wangbo ngosum ne ane yi luki wangbo ngosum ni bardo ane nga cha yong ro.
The first of the 4 divisions of direct perception is sense direct perceivers, and we see further down the page an alternative division of sense direct perceivers is into 5 corresponding to the 5 senses. So those sense direct perceivers apprehending form, sound, odor, taste, and tangible objects.
지사다 원병원송 나여변 나여도 원병원송 나가 나로려야 가르스네 세마 제시 나라망에 ane ke sur sum-sumi tsema jishe nanama sum-sum-sum-li yorwa.
And these 5 subdivisions of sense direct perceivers each have their own subdivisions, being which are valid cognizers, subsequent cognizers, and non-ascertaining awarenesses. So, for example, the first sense direct perceiver apprehending form, that can be a valid cognizer, subsequent cognizer, or a non-ascertaining awareness, and likewise for the remaining 4.
Dina she you want some de la ya, the you want some de la, and you want some corolla, and Tsema, Geshe, Nanama was some Jibare.
Then on the fourth page, we come to the second of the divisions of direct perception, that of mental direct perceivers. And this has three divisions. And here we see valid cognizers, that are mental direct perceivers, as well as subsequent cognizers and non-ascertaining awarenesses. And as we heard last night, the self-knowing direct perceivers have the same three subdivisions as sense direct perceivers and mental direct perceivers. But there are valid cognizers that are self-knowing direct perceivers, subsequent cognizers that are self-knowing direct perceivers, non-ascertaining awarenesses that are self-knowing direct perceivers. So all three of the first three divisions of direct perception have the same subdivisions.
Sukta, Dur, Racha, Satan, Midaba, Dameba, Denigi, Udi, Su Hagores, Lui Hagores, Tisan Lui Toba and Yobare, Lui Matobano Yomares, Urbaja, Tisan has been Namge Medo Seda, Bene Ribong Ra, said Yomares, Tigasan, Dito with Sama Yomare Lagua, said Dito with Sama Yena and the Yores, Udu with Sama de Mena and the Udu Yomares and Yudi Yoda me said, Gawachiba Chigorson, de topic logi yumeta, Yudi topo logi yumetana, Yudi topo loyovana, Yudi Yobare, Yudi topo lodi mena, Yudi Mevares, Yoda me, Shadi, topo lolet in a shakore.
If an object, so for an object to exist, it needs to be realized by a mind. If it's not, it doesn't exist. So if we take something that we know does not exist in the world, such as a rabbit with horns, the horns of a rabbit, or flowers in the sky, we know they don't exist. How can we say we know they don't exist? Is because there is no valid cognizer that realizes them. And because there's no valid cognizer which realizes the object, horns of a rabbit, there is no such thing as the horns of a rabbit. And similarly, because there's no valid cognizer that realizes sky flowers, we know that there's no such thing as a sky flower. So for something to exist or not depends on it being realized by an awareness.
Saying, Kampanala, Zane, and out of Sasangi, Jala, the tongue big some logic, same logic here to do some big some ledu, or Jala do la Gurva. Saying, then part, or they do some big some Malabato, Gunima Mena, or the Jala the Mindula Gurva.
Just like in your home, when you're searching for something, and when you find it, the thought will come, here it is, it exists. If you're searching for it, you don't find it, there's no thought saying, here it is, so therefore it's not there.
On that, the Yoda may have when the Logi Yoba and the Lullatin how Gurela. Then Lohoron Su how Gure, the Lohoron Yoda may have when the Su how Gurelana, or that he how when Randik said you are Randik the how Gure.
Therefore, whether an object exists or not depends on whether it is realized by an awareness. For the awareness then, it too needs to be ascertained, and that the awareness is realized by a self-knower. So a self-knower realizes consciousness. So again, for an object to exist or not depends on it being realized by an awareness, and that realizing awareness itself is realized or ascertained by a self-knower.
Dine zada rangrik sayadi shayadi ko yujen sheba lo sheba degi haku kandi rangrik haku ko jeza lo yore yo mare sheba yore yo mare sidu yore haku kandi rangrik re jeza rangrik haku ko res rangrik shaku be kimsen di shirwa dana rangrik sayadi ganchi lagri labdi yodo ande ngo rangrik sayadi sheba ganchi yore manzu migi sheba da igi sheba da midewi Dabi kaha siya gong rangrik kaha siya gong kaha siya benda rangrik siya de kandi shiyo re labi yadu ane dili gong rwa bende zindam sido kanshi yu korongi zinda yu di sheba janyan zintu ge che zinda yu di sheba che sheba che ane korong tokpa ma yin pa che ane korongi kola ya rokpa ane tsowa dushi senpa ilar cheba rekpa kaya me digen chizan dindi iji yo re so chizan 생이 샤도 카나로 코나로 초신 진바 양가와 세월아 카나온 코나로 줘봐 카나온 코나로 줘봐라도 그런 게 카지 그런 게 따야기 진예의 유 아니 셰바 코나 진바래세 아니 카나고 진바 양가와 세도 안디 콜이야 초와 sem중 가야 메티엔지 초와 두시점 메디엔지 그런 직부에 직제 안 똑바다 잡아 똑바만 이게 맞추어지 데니치라 라르클라 그래서 그러다
Deneditik, con sintankiyu, shepare, con matuare, con di yang song. For an object to exist or not depends on it being realized by an awareness. That awareness too then needs to be realized, and it is realized, that awareness is realized by a consciousness which is called a self-knower. As we've seen thus far, the various types of consciousnesses, whether mental or sense, have definitions. So therefore, so too does the self-knower. And we see the definitions here on page 4. But expand a little bit more as to what is meant by a self-knower. So if we think back to the various kinds of objects which we looked at last year, the object or the mode of apprehension of a self-knower is consciousness. So it only realizes consciousness. Moreover, a self-knower, as we see here in the definition, is unmistaken and it's non-conceptual. Moreover, as we heard last night, it isn't accompanied by the omnipresent mental factors. So we got the definition here. In addition to what we're seeing in the definition, the self-knower is a consciousness that only turns inwards. Therefore, its object of the mode of apprehension is consciousness alone. It's only consciousness. And in addition, the self-knower is not accompanied by the omnipresent mental factors.
Rangrik dilaya ane tsema jishe nangla mangba sumyo banza rangrik di sheba rangrik yu tangpo toba di geji tangpo de tsema she geji nipa di pene nga zuki 미기 셰바 냠송요에 라릭로와 미기 셰바 냠송요 라릭 게지 당보데 참아데체 게지 니바데 지시체 나 아니 나라 망아바디 안디 나라마 첼샤로와 당보디 니디체.
And under the definition we have the divisions of a self-knowing direct perceiver. So we take the illustration of an eye-sense direct perceiver. So an eye-sense direct perceiver has, as the very first moment of an eye-sense direct perceiver is a valid cognizer, and so too is its self-knower. The second and subsequent moments of the eye-sense direct perceiver are subsequent cognizers, and so too are its self-knower. So those are the first two divisions of the self-knowing direct perceiver. So just to repeat that, as an illustration, an eye-sense direct perceiver, its first moment is a valid cognizer, so too is its self-knower. The second moment of the eye-sense direct perceiver, second and subsequent moments, are subsequent cognizers, so too are its self-knowing direct perceivers.
Sheba imanya sun yugarare ni body and dice and yang baby yu jeba tsama imanya sun yugarare dige and tsenji ro chi tin sin deso ane nala manga bares.
And the illustrations that are given for non-ascertaining awarenesses that are self-knowing direct perceivers. So here we have in illustrations at the bottom, we have 3 bullet points. So the first 2 are pretty much the same. A self-knowing direct perceiver in the continuum of either a samkhya or vaisheshika that experiences happiness, or as we have here bliss, as being a consciousness. And the third illustration, a self-know in the continuum of a shavaka or nihilist or materialist that experiences an inferential cognizer as being a valid cognizer.
Tadi nala me jangjimbi gyugi ane dewa sheba nyangsunyu rari tela dewa sheba iba nangor de ina to tugo mares ko nang shi mangai bares nangor ina ma to bares the ma to ba de garje bare labna lodo gi jangjim ko gi lodo di shukin jeje to ma to bares lodo gar yorosene dewa di sheba mare sambi lodo shyor dewa sheba mares dewa sugre la gro dewa sugre ma to sheba mare sambi igi sheba la denig igi sheba samdo shukchen bo yoba za di kin chene dewa nyamsung yorari digi dewa de do mare jere.
So to explain then this first illustration, and just to say from the translator's side, I prefer to use happiness rather than bliss for the translation. It seems more appropriate. It's the feeling of happiness rather than the feeling of bliss. So these samkhyas, as well as the vaisheshikas, they have in their tenets, they believe that happiness is form, it's not consciousness. So when they experience the feeling of happiness, that feeling of happiness is a consciousness, but it's not realized. It's not realized, so they don't have a valid cognizer realizing the feeling of happiness due to the power of their wrong view, saying, this happiness is form. So due to the power of that, or due to the influence of this strong wrong view, this happiness that is experienced, they believe it to be form. So therefore, happiness is not realized. Therefore, they do not have not having a valid cognizer realizing happiness, they cannot have a valid cognizer that is a self-knowing direct perceiver, rather a non-ascertaining self-knowing direct perceiver. A self-knowing direct perceiver that doesn't realize happiness, although happiness appears to it. It appears, but is not ascertained, not realized. And that's why it's a non-ascertaining awareness, that is a self-knower.
Nadela kasang zo rarigi chike jebaro chik kaji jerwa na diri yang zong rarig de ane ngan ju kosu wang sheba di na la ya du de wang she de yin na le du gre la rwa chisa da rarig de wang she de be yi sheba de din na ne gare lam na yi sheba de ma do wang she la rarig se yo ma le so da wang she ma res yi sheba de la rarig de.
And furthermore, if we heard earlier that consciousnesses can be divided into sense and mental consciousnesses. So where in there does the self-knower fit? Well, self-knower can only be a mental consciousness. It cannot be a sense consciousness.
Dinane kagi nala yoresene washe nala radig yorebesene washe inga radig yorebesen dio mares ane garesenda radigina yi sheba yinkugures just yishel mato radig yomares.
This then comes from a discussion that if all consciousnesses can be divided into the two, sense and mental, then a self-knower too must fit in there somewhere. And it cannot fit amongst sense consciousnesses, only amongst mental consciousnesses.
다는 아주 로릭 둔체도 원숨 안에 제 체마 제시 나나모 로시 제좀 세디 둔체로와 달로리 둔나라기 셰바나 라리스데 가와가와 요레스네 원숨 데라 라리교레 원숨이게 라리긴 요레 체마이게 라리긴 요레 나라망베 라리긴 요레스와 다디 숨나로마도 원숨 체마 제시 나라망바 디시나로 안에 라리긴 고레 마도 다 태좀 인게 라리교 말 태좀 나라 라리교 말에 로시에 나라 라리교 말에 이주에 나라 라리교 말에 숨 나로 라리세요 말에 세.
So we also heard that consciousness can be divided not only into those two, but into seven, the sevenfold division. So in that sevenfold division, where does one find self-knowers? So they're found in four and not amongst three. So self-knowers can be found amongst direct perceivers, valid cognizers, non-ascertaining awarenesses, and subsequent cognizers. So to repeat that, self-knowers are found amongst direct perceivers, valid cognizers, non-ascertaining awarenesses, and subsequent cognizers. So this relates to the same threefold division we have here. But then there are three of the sevenfold division of Lorig where self-knowers are not found. Doubt, wrong consciousness, and correct assumption. So there's not a correct assumption that is a self-knower, nor a wrong consciousness that is a self-knower, nor a doubt that is a self-knower.
당아주 셰발이야 셈나 셈중신이와 인치고 다도 젤리 다디 데디오마 젤리기로와 셈나 셈주걸 그래서 셈나 셈중신이요래 그래서 라릭세디 셈나로 요르베 셈중나로 요레스네 라릭세디 셈중나로 요마 셈중 셈나로 요마 라릭세디 셈나 셈중 가야 말이야 시고르다.
Near at the end of the text we'll come to another twofold division of mind, and that is another twofold division of awareness, and that is into main minds and mental factors. So where in that twofold division are self-knowers to be found? And they are not to be found amongst main minds or mental factors.
도바 가르리고 그래서 직대 라릭 디원숨로와 이기 셰반의 원숨레 제사다는 라릭 원숨세 이기 원숨 레베스 지와 이거로와 그래서 그 이기 셰바레라서 라릭 원숨 이기 셰바레와 원숨로하고 제사 이기 셰바레샤 원숨이레샤 제사 이기 원숨 레베스 람나 이기 원숨 마레라고 할때냐
이기 원숨 마레 이긴 원숨 말에 이긴 원숨 말에
원숨리 이기 셰바레 원숨리 이기 셰바레 이기 원숨 말에세.
So we've heard that when we look at the twofold division of consciousness, then the self-knowers are found amongst mental consciousnesses. If we look at the sevenfold division, then amongst those that self-knowers are found, one is direct perceivers, or direct perception. So then the question comes, is self-knower then a mental direct perceiver? So the division immediately above this, at the top of page 4. And the answer is no. A self-knowing direct perceiver is not a mental direct perceiver, although it is a direct perceiver.
디니게 라릭세디 케추디네 망고라 직 캬바chen 샤용으로 지난디 샤도 다디 라릭 샤한의 수제로선 뇌대바다 셈잠바다 우마라기바 디좀다와 디숨디게 샤그레마도 제라마웨게 데네셰바치요 말레라고 텐유비게네 데네치요 말레라고 라릭세디요 말레세고.
There are actually quite a few doubts that are raised about the very existence of self-knowers. And this is because not all Buddhists accept that there are self-knowers. So Buddhists who hold the philosophical view of the Vaibhashikas or Prasangikas, they are the ones presenting these doubts because they do not accept the very existence of a self-knower. Whereas the Buddhist philosophical schools of the Sautrantika, Chittamatra, and Svatrantika, they do assert self-knowers. We've perhaps now spoken enough on the self-knowing direct perceivers, so let's come then to the fourth and final division of direct perception, and that's at the top of page 5, the yogic direct perceivers.
나디 나중 무슨 세디 저기 남념는지 윤모바 빠야기 빠야래 년보 저와야 된 나중 무슨 책을 대자 산지고 봐 토야다 탈바다 탐지 캠비고 봐 토야래야 나중 무슨 된 냠는 맞아봐 당한저 탈바 톡투야요 말에 나산이고 봐 톡투로 말에 제자인지 민지 나중 무슨 세는 저기 탈바 탐지 캠비고 봐 토와다 냠는 제래 연하면나 샤고로 와
Yogic direct perceivers, these are found in the continuum of those who have or are abandoning the afflicted minds. Without having cultivated yogic direct perceptions, the afflictions cannot be abandoned, liberation cannot be achieved, and nor enlightenment. So these yogic direct perceivers are found in the continuum of those who are in the process of abandoning their afflicted minds or have done so.
And
as with the previous three divisions, the fourth division is presented with its definition and then divisions.
나중 무슨 세대 가르치길래 그래서나다 생기시나 뭐스나 디스그로 랑기 투모 마이메 다견도 길비 실라 손저기 띵에질라 되네 개와 강하시 또바단 저시 마추위 파베기기 현지기 캠파서 파베기기 현지기 캠파 되네 질은 나중 무슨 라 그래지래
The definition of a yogic direct perceiver, or the definition, or can be expressed as the entity or the essence of a yogic direct perception, is that which is generated in dependence on its own uncommon, empowering condition, a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight, and is an other-knowing, exalted wisdom in the continuum of an area that is non-conceptual and unmistaken.
나중 무슨 질라 계시에 그런 게 다견데 가래 신고를라나 실라소르게 띵해진 거래서 실라소르 띵해진 거고 다견라 제가 딱5 가린 거라서는 그 똑바 많이 봐시 맞추어진 거래서 뭐 간의 신고선 똑바 많이 봐지 아니 맞추어진 거래서 아니 띵 가서 수기를 요거래서는 밥이 가서 기를 요거래서 어디는 시기라 나중 무슨 라그데서 계시를 마서나 그런 게 유익해봐디 디송라 랑게 투모메 다긴도 기비 실라순데 띵해진 그런 거 유익해봐들라 그 가정 만족이 아니 그 나중 무슨 유기로 두고 말에 나중 무슨 깨알 규들인지 민지 니라 실라순데 띵해진 토고고 디공고고 디마고 바이나 아니 나중 무슨 개투고 말로 제가 인상 코라 다긴 유익해봐 규들라 가르고서네 나중 무슨 마게 니라 가르고고서네 실라순데 띵해진 토고고 해지래
In this definition, you'll recognize parts of it which are similar to the definitions that have preceded, and then some new bits. So let's talk about some of the particular aspects of the definition of a yogic direct perceiver, some of the key components that make a particular consciousness a yogic direct perceiver. So the uncommon empowering condition, or the unique empowering condition, is a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. So we've seen in some of the previous definitions the uncommon empowering condition, and that has varied depending on the perceiver. Here, with a yogic direct perceiver, it is a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. Before continuing with what Genna said, just to say a few things on translation of terms. So this first word, stabilization, in Tibetan is tingazin. It has been over the years translated in many different ways. It used to be translated as concentration. Now it's not done so much because that's confused with calm abiding, but it's like a mental stabilization sometimes called as well. So this in Tibetan stabilization is tingazin, then a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. A meditative insight you may know as special insight or penetrative insight. It's also called a variety of things, laktong. So sorry, the English translations do vary a lot. So meditative insight you may know better as special insight or penetrative insight. Anyway, here we have as the uncommon empowering condition, a stabilization that is the union of calm abiding and meditative insight. So that's one key point. The second key point is that the entity of a yogic direct perceiver, we see now in the second line, is it's non-conceptual and unmistaken. Hence, it's a direct perceiver. Non-conceptual and unmistaken. And in whose continuum is a yogic direct perceiver to be found? And we see here an Arya being. So that's a third key component. It's in the continuum of an Arya being. Secondly, non-conceptual and unmistaken. And the first one we had is its uncommon empowering condition is a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. So looking at now the second bullet point, we see at the beginning, other knowing. We've just covered a self-knower, here we see an other knower. So it makes it very clear that a yogic direct perceiver is not a self-knower, it's an other knower.
Now, Nambo Korangi Dagin to give Shila for the things in Syria, that Nambo Manzuki, you Nambo senior troop. The Shine di that you de la Yang Manzuki, that Najum was some Keki, Shila Sundiki, things you de la Yana Kasuri. Yana Mitapada, Dame Pada. Dame Charakaro, Yana Dame Rapa, Yana Dame Chamo de la Mipigi, Denela Mipi, you de la Yang, Yana Mitapa in Gore, Yana Dame Bascure, Dame Trabata, Chamala Sobat, Tombanila, so on Denis usually me or mother, you guys are Marshall Mini, Sine, Benazoki, Sayuku, Mini, Sine Troop, and a good elevator, Sine, Diana, Hardon Duena, D, Sila Sunde, and Najum was some get Dajan Chago, Made. Then Najum was some get Dajan Chayagi, Sila Sunde de la Ganich Kursene, you Dame Balimi Pachkore, Dameba, you Damela maybe Sila Sunde Chingore.
Looking now at the first point, that which is generated in dependence on its own uncommon empowering condition, a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. What isn't said here and needs to be understood, that for a direct perceiver to be a yogic direct perceiver, it needs, as it says here, to have as its own uncommon empowering condition a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight, but only in relation to a specific object, not any object. So, for example, when a practitioner develops calm abiding, they may take as their initial object an image of a Buddha, and they develop first calm abiding, and then later a special insight and a meditative insight, and the union of calm abiding and meditative insight on the object of a Buddha image. So whilst the empowering condition is a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight, the object is very coarse, a Buddha image. For it to be a yogic direct perceiver, the object has to be far subtler. It needs to be one of three things. Either subtle impermanence, coarse selflessness, or subtle selflessness. One of those three. So the object of the stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight needs to be either subtle impermanence, coarse selflessness, or subtle selflessness.
Shila Sunday Ting said, you de la me but the language Dame was Dame Palimi for use. Tanganzu that Delia Jeramawada, Dode Baina, Casore, Jeramawana Tony say healing your marva. That same Zamba Dangazu Umar Yubaro and the Niki Uma Tenjubaina, Shila Sunday Ting is in your order again, Casor. Najum was some Dagin chicken, Shila Sunday Ting in the la Caracosin. 유티 동인 거 동인을 미비게 유티 동인을 미베스 진에 제지도 미되게 지제 되네 네 안에 셰르게 제바집을 하동 톱되게 실라순르기 유티 동반이를 미비 실라순르기 고거래 우마 텐주바다 랑주바다 셈자바 가소래 셈자바다 안디네나 양 동인 마도가 미니 다베네 년뒤기 파파 동인 마도가 안 루시네 니기 다 우마 텐주발라 동인 지미지 동인 고거래 동인 고 다 우마 랑주바다 셈자바 제솔래야 동인 또한이나 그소래 장주선비게 파파게 나중어스미나 유이텔라 나중어스미 실라스 띵징에 다 유이텔라 동인고 그래 매년 년뒤에다 년뒤기 안에 가소래 파피기 나중어스 여러 와다 나중어스들 년내 파피기 나중어스 장주선 파피기 나중어스 라자 파피기 나중어스 숨리기로 미라 숨리기로 와 당봉한테 장주 베네 랑주바다 셈자마기 셰베나 당아즈메네 년뒤에 파바디기 나중어스미 다긴 실라 손리 띵인 진데라 유이데라 다메바 미비게 다메라 냠바 샤베기 실라 손리 띵인 진고 그래 다 장주셈비게 람냠네 제네 파베기 가소래 랑자니라 랑자 파비 실라 손리 띵인 진게 다긴데 실라 손리 띵인 진데라 가로서 유이데라 니동 니동라 미비게
셈삼파
셈삼데 랑자 파바 셈삼바 되데베기 메체 랑자 파베기 안주게 나중어섬 되게 다긴의 기베 실라 손리게 유이데라 니동라 미바치고 그래 나 제주셈바 자선 파베기 안에 나중어섬 다긴의 기베 실라 손리게 띵인 진기 유이데라 동인고 그래 지난 건조기 년뒤에 파베기 나중어섬게 다긴다 안에 실라손을 띵해진다 랑자 파베기 나중어섬게 다긴의 기베 실라손리게 띵해진다 대 장주셈비기 동용 가서 파베기 나중어섬 다긴의 실라손 띵해진 숨데라 유이데라 돼서 기카가 자되거든요.
네, 단다 niente congiu dakme deni rangyupa deni
rangyupa masa
rangyal kona rangyal deni di nidong ki tompa deni jansu sempa papa deni tongni deni danta di drupta shiki kola sung mebe
deni drupta shiki shiki
kosong. So what we've just heard then is that for the uncommon empowering condition being a stabilization, that is a union of calm, abiding, meditative insight, for that to be a yogic direct perceiver, the object needs to be subtle impermanence or coarse or subtle selflessness. Now to look at it perhaps in a little more detail, because there are different types of practitioners. So those of the hero lineage who have a yogic direct perceiver, their object will be selflessness. A solitary realizer, so a practitioner of the solitary realizer lineage, their object will be the emptiness of duality. And a practitioner of the lineage of bodhisattvas, who is an Arya being, their object will be emptiness. So Hira has as their object selflessness, a solitary realizer, the emptiness of duality, and a bodhisattva, emptiness.
다들 시타디 수식거랬네. 우마랑주비 시타래. 우마랑주비 손타데데. 금담아와 신안에 수식거랬네. 송거랬는데 우마랑주비 되단 조단데래.
So what's just been said is a little different from what was said previously. So who says this? That the hero's object is selflessness, the solitary realizer's object is the emptiness of duality, and the Arya Bodhisattva's object is emptiness? The Madhyamika Svatrantikas. This is their assertion. This is their assertion for yogic direct perceivers.
Uma tenjubegi sumga jigbare yu dongbanyi bo jigogo dongyigo relare. Many 년뒤 파베기 나중에 숨이 다디 실라 손제게 지나라 란자 파베기 나중에 숨 다기는 실라 손제이 나라 장주심베기 나중에 다기는 실라 손제기 띵이지 가리네 디숨바기 실라 손제 띵이지 유들라 동인고 그래서 디 엄마 텐주비 손나래데.
Prasangika, on the other hand, they say that whether a practitioner is of the hero lineage, the solitary realizer lineage, or the bodhisattva lineage. The object of their stabilization, that is the union of calm abiding and meditative insight, is emptiness, only emptiness. So for the Prasangika, they say the object of the stabilization, that is a union of calm abiding meditative insight, is emptiness, no matter what type of practitioner one is.
Na semzambi ki karsungorasene nyandu pabu yuna jung sun tajin du gyube shila sun mi badi kansa dame res ora dame res ta rangya pabu yuna jung sun gyube ki shila sun dingin jinda jeju sembe gyi na jung da long dingin jin ni bo digi dini ge yu di ni dong ji ba de ni dong res ni dong ji ba de kun yi kya ba yo ma res.
The Chittamatrans, they too have their own presentation of what the objects are. So they say a Hinayana Arya being a Hira Arya being has as their object the selflessness of persons. So their observed object. So when I've been saying that the object more fully would be the observed object, is the selflessness of persons. And that is the observed object for a Hira Arya. For the type of practitioner of the lineage of solitary realizer or bodhisattvas, their observed object is the emptiness of duality. So this is the presentation of the Chittamatrans. So they say the observed objects for a Hira Arya is selflessness of persons, and for a solitary realizer Arya or a bodhisattva Arya, their observed object is the emptiness of duality. And this is the Chittamatran view.
다 제가 마와던 되대반이기 숨가게 안에 미기 실라스를 띵이지 유텔라 가사 다메레스 마도 돈이 세리 니도나 돈이 힐링고 말아 완전 가사 다메 지부셔고래 년뒤 이나다 라자 이나다 전주선바 이나다 실라스를 띵이지 유텔라 가사 다메 마도 샤고 마 가사 다메 지바래
네, 전수선바 야마나
랑기바 이나 라자다 년뒤에다 전주선바 숨가게 실라스를 띵이지 유텔라 안에 가사 다메 샤고래.
Then lastly, the lowest two tenets, those of the Vaibhashika and Sartantika, they say that whatever type of whichever lineage the practitioner is, the object of their yogic direct perceiver, the observed object, is selflessness of persons. So whether one is of the Hira type, solitary realizer, or bodhisattva type, their object, the observed object, is selflessness of persons.
다 생이샤도 유리게 시금이나든 투모마메 다견의 교회 실라선 띵에즈네 개와 가시 또 받아는 마루 파유의 현직의 캠바스 소마도 될 유디 디 다디가 소 시금이도 하지사 디 나로래 다 유디 조타로 있네.
This was mentioned now in some detail because it's actually not mentioned in our text. We see here in the definition there's no reference to the observed object of that union of calm abiding and meditative insight. So now that's hopefully a little clear what each of the various Buddhist tenets assert as being the observed object of that yogic direct perceiver.
다르기는 실라소리 띵에서 세대 당한주게 다음에 발기 셰바이나 다 베네 파비규게 년대 파비규게 나중 좀 개발라 안당보 안 다음에 봐도 다음에 또 그래서 다 다음에 또네 din 다음에 미비 신이 주고 그래 다 다음에 미비 신이 주찬네 din 신이 디간에 다음에 미비 활동 주고 그래 대신에 미비 활동 주찬네 되네 디곰발에 되네 마 년대 파비고만 더고 그래 나중 좀 대신에 이게 그래
Den kunde Duptagagi?
다들 두다기시다 가지고 나도 년절 마치 시작하잖아. 년절 파비고 봐. 나중에 좀 토와라. 당보 다음에 또 그러봐. 다음에 또 선에 다음에라 미비 신의 주부. 되네 신의 주찬에 되네 신의 딩안에 다음에라 미비가 활동 주부. 되네 활동 톱체디 되네 디곰발에 되네 안 나중에 좀 년절 파비기 나중에 좀도 토고 그러봐.
그래서 Let's look then at the sequence of training of practitioners of the Hira type. So first they need to come to realize selflessness. Dakme, Gansaki Dakme. They need to first realize selflessness of persons. Then, having a realization of selflessness of persons, they need to then cultivate the mind of calm abiding in relation to the object, selflessness of persons. And when they are able to hold the realization of the selflessness of persons with calm abiding, then they need to cultivate meditative insight, or special insight, or penetrative insight in relation to the observed object of the selflessness of persons. And then eventually they are able to have the union of calm abiding and meditative insight with the observed object of selflessness of persons. And it's at that point that they give rise to the yogic direct perception. So the sequence is first they realize selflessness of persons, then having realized it, over time they develop calm abiding in relation to that observed object. Having developed that, then they thirdly develop a meditative insight in relation to that observed object. And then fourthly, once they have the union of calm abiding and meditative insight in relation to the observed object of selflessness of persons, that's when they give rise to the yogic direct perception.
Zanda nganzuge dame bal mi bigi shila sunri gi sedi dinge chindi dadi di topare. Chesang ho dong dame bal mi bi zeji de mi de shine da lao dong top tare zeji de mi dinge chindi shine de che di khorgi sherap ki jeba chine lao dong to bi sherap de lao dong che chesang dame bal mi bigi samlo di khorgi sem di khol ya dinge chindi shine yong wa cha di sherap de na lao dong wa cha di tokpare들 di 야네 고묘도 간점질라 다음에 봐도 원숨도 도로 그래 제산 딜로디 원숨이 원주고 그래 원숨이 원주디 데니기 다음에 봐도 원숨디 나중 원숨래 강사디 파과 차송래.
And to add a little more detail to that sequence, first, as we heard, the practitioner of hero lineage realizes the selflessness of persons. That realization is performed with a conceptual consciousness. They then develop calm abiding in relation to that observed object, which too is a conceptual consciousness. Having developed calm abiding so they can hold the realization of the selflessness of persons, this subtle object, single-pointedly for an indeterminate or an indefinite amount of time, they then start to try and develop meditative insight in relation to this observed object, the selflessness of persons. And they do so through introducing, once again, the wisdom, the analysis or investigation. So by analyzing and investigating, they then lose their calm abiding, re-establish their calm abiding on the object, once again use their wisdom, and lose their calm abiding, etc., and go through this process until they are able to hold that object single-pointedly and analyze at the same time. That's where they have the union of calm abiding and meditative insight on the observed object of the selflessness of persons. So the first realization before calm abiding is conceptual. Developing calm abiding, conceptual. Whilst they're giving rise to meditative insight, and they do give rise to meditative insight, this too is conceptual. However, once they have the union of calm abiding and meditative insight on this object, this observed object, then they realize the object directly. And now for the first time, they have a direct perception of the observed object, selflessness of persons. This direct perception is a direct realization. Directly realizing selflessness of persons, then this hearer becomes an Arya being, becomes an Arya hearer.
Digi dame wongosum no toedu ko tokwa mai ba charwa mosum cha songwa chesan tokwa dan cha sings de ko dame wongosum toedu tokwa mai nga charwa wongosum cha songre chesan wongosum re ma chua charwa chesan tokwa mai nga tokwa da cha ma chua sa cha songwa chesan de gansa khorong da ko gyule de be gansa de papa cha songwa papa inza di papa gi chen pa sa cha songre da ko
taken that, what has just been presented, and we apply it to the definition we see here. So the person has developed, is utilizing the uncommon empowering condition, a stabilization that is union of calm, abiding, and meditative insight, and they have been applying it to the observed object of the selflessness of persons. And when this is achieved, no longer is their consciousness a conceptual consciousness, but it's a direct perception. Then that direct perception is a direct realization, it's a yogic direct perceiver, and it's being a direct realization, now we're seeing in the second line, it's non-conceptual. Why? Because it's direct. It's a direct perceiver, it's non-conceptual, and it's unmistaken. So here we're seeing the other components being fulfilled, the other components of the definition, and they, at this point, become an Arya being. So that part of the component of the definition here too is fulfilled. And then the other components of the definition, and other knowing exalted knower. So this, the yogic direct perception, is what is it knowing, or what is it realizing? Something other than itself. We know it's not a self-knower, so it's realizing or knowing something other than itself. What is that? Selflessness of persons. So therefore, it is realizing selflessness of persons, which isn't consciousness, so it's realizing something other than itself. And therefore, this part of the definition is also fulfilled. So this is included to make it very clear that the yogic direct perceiver is not a self-knower. It will have a self-knower, but it is not a self-knower. And this needs to be, this is mentioned explicitly because there are other parts of this definition that correspond to the qualities of a self-knower, namely being non-conceptual and unmistaken. The self-knowing direct perceiver is also non-conceptual, is also unmistaken. But the yogic direct perceiver is an other knower. It's realizing something other than itself. It's realizing selflessness of persons.
And then Damebadi, Gansa said, and also Gansa the Mingus kissing my tente to be called Shavana, changing other Damebas, doors, Chevachi, Gansa saying out to Nga said some time out of Lolia, Nans with the Nasa, can Nangu, the Chevache, Nans with the Hago do, Nanzuki Lolia, to Pumpola Matuba, rang when you to Tibet Nangore. Dinna and Ashinjida, Pumpona Yang to Pumpi. Chashia Nang, Semba, Jebachi do, Gansam Chilia, Pumbola Mateva, Rangoni, Mevade Dondu, and 랑원을 주베 마주바 또한도 안에 가사 다음에 봐 또 보러와 다디 또에게 체마디 제바 체마제 당보디 제바 체마 제고 가서 김진 삼다 제바 제제 당보 다음에 봐 또 아주 체마는 제바 체마래 지상 아주 다디 제바 체마 제리로 체마들 무슨 체마다 지수법에 체마세 리그로 지상 지수법에 체마 제고래 다 지수법에 체마 차네데 다음에 또 봐자 다 디네 신이 다 다음에 미비 야제 신이 주거든 제바디에 다음에 또 그래마도 제주 삼다의 내두고 말 유두고로 와 지상 다 디네 신이 다 다음에 니 제바디 또 세위 제라 다음에 들미네 신이 주 된 다음에 발에 신이 주 차네 되네 다음에 받을라 신이 팅 안에 셰럽티게 제바제 하동 주 진짜 림바마서나 니 하동 주 안데 실라송데 톱 나디 야네 야도 공발에 되네 아니 되네 그 로디 다음에 봐도 별로 무슨 뭐 요래지네
네네. 데니 제수 박베 세마 데 가르케게레 공 테마 담포 간삭닥 메 토기여레 데니 공 신이 줍거레 락동 줍거레 데르 양 제바키 세마레 데르 양 토카 세마레 제바키 세마레
제바 세마레 제바 때 당보드 세마레와 니버 기진이버 숨버시드 시시 차로
이 제라 공 신이
주도 제시래 다디 제시래 다디 제시다 세마기 시와 당보 다음에 봐도 제바기 제바디 안에 신이 줍 되네 하동 줍 되네 원숨 줍
오케이 The yogic direct perception, which realizes the selflessness of persons, being a direct perception, it is of course directly realizing it. So let's look a little bit again at the sequence as to how the practitioner gets to this point of becoming an Arya being. So we've spoken a lot in the past about how to meditate on selflessness, especially last year when you're looking at the text on dependent arising. And from your experience with that, you would have seen the meditation start with coming to see how the self appears to oneself, and then investigating to see if it exists in this way. And so the self appears to us as being independent of our aggregates. And then we investigate to see if it exists in this way or not. Here we are using reasoning and analysis to come to see how the self exists. We come then to a realization the self does not exist in the way that it appears. And eventually this realization is strong and profound enough that it is an inferential valid cognizer. So this is a division we'll come to in a couple of pages' time. But this is the starting point that leads to a yogic direct perception. It's a valid cognizer, but it's inferential, so it's based on reasons. And here one realizes that the self does not exist in the way that it appears. It's empty of existing in the way that it appears. At that point, then the practitioner strives to develop a calm abiding on the observed object, the emptiness of the self. And these are both conceptual consciousnesses. And then thirdly, once that is done, they'll try and develop meditative insight on the observed object of the selflessness of persons. This too is a conceptual consciousness. Then eventually, when they are able to have the union of calm abiding and meditative insight, realizing the selflessness of persons, that former inferential valid cognizer now is no longer inferential, but direct. Hence, there's a yogic direct perception. So there's a sequence here, starting with an inferential valid cognizer, followed by the development of calm abiding, and then the meditative insight, and then the union, and then a direct perceiver.
당보 제바 마기니래 다음에도 또고도 선비기 뉴버디 기억으로와 다음에 봤을 때가 또고도 선비 뉴버 마기나 다음에 또 여기라 전달에 제바 치고 말해 다음에 또 여기 전달에 제바 맞이나 또 두고 말해 진짜 당보 다음에 봤을 또고도 선비 뉴버디 기억으로 봐.
What we're seeing in this presentation of Buddhist psychology, this presentation of Lorig, is this sequence. If one has the wish to be freed of suffering, one needs to develop a yogic direct perception. In order to develop that, one first needs to develop an inferential valid cognizer, realizing the selflessness of persons. In order to develop that, one has to give rise to the aspiration to realize the selflessness of persons. Without this aspiration, wanting to realize the selflessness of persons, one won't embark on this journey. One will not start with the investigation, coming to see, how does my sense of self appear to my mind? And without starting on this journey, lacking this aspiration, it will be impossible to ever give rise to a realization, let alone an inferential valid cognizer, which will eventually we'll be able to develop into a yogic direct perception, realizing the selflessness of persons.
람림 나라 아니 예외 동아 이다예 동아 콜위 동아 시고로와 지상 콜위 동아 세시 동아의 남자 소요 지상 동아의 남자들 봐 직삼다도 다 삼로 갈리게서 동아 때텔라 타고 동아들 마타나 탑 누우선 비게 동아를 타도게 삼바시 내용 거래 동아를 타고도 선배 삼는 내용도 안 가르선 다 동아 타고 지상 동아의 가능성 연구를 유가능성 때 연구도 선배게 제바진 귤이야 제바지로 거래 지상다 동아 매바서야 당부 유디 매바서야바나 동아요 신을마서는 자와의 고아샤바나 신디 누구게 매바 차로 디나신다 동아요 동아들 타고도 선배 삼로 숙심보지 게요도 데 동아요 유디 가르에서 제바지 델라 제바지 연구를 지상 델라 제바지도 동아 유디 군주 덴바 세데 레다 뇽몽발에 기여바데 하고 두고래 제가 레다 뇽몽바니 나네자 레데 가와지도 뇽몽발에 기여도 되셔 콩도 나게 디술데네 레기 사기도 제가 덴지게 가르 진리기도 세네 나 세바가 나라 덴버 주바지 가서래 다도 주바지면 다신디 제가 다신들에 깨바다 하고 두고래 제가 다신들에 깨바다 하고도 야 다신들에 깨다 자와데 딜리기도 다신 세디게 다데 간스 징구도 셈베 삼다도 다세데 풍보당 강라에 마도 랑원이 주베 진디기도 제가 데네게 진별로디다 그 진발 따다 레도 민도 제바지고 그러와 제바지도 다메알 제바지고 고주고 그래
We hear that it's only in dependence on this aspiration to realize the selflessness of persons that one will embark on this process of analysis. Then the question comes, so how does one give rise to such an aspiration? Well, the preceding point is to come to clearly understand the sufferings that pervade the 6 realms. Here we need to then come to hear a presentation on the sufferings of the lower realms as well as the happier realms, and then reflect repeatedly on these, coming to a clear understanding of the sufferings of samsara. Independence then, on coming to a vivid understanding that suffering pervades samsara, all of samsara is pervaded by suffering, that a transforming wish to gain freedom from suffering will arise. Transforming in the sense that it will dominate us. It will be an overriding aspiration that we have to attain freedom from suffering. Because wherever I'm born, whatever I have, whatever I experience, remains pervaded by suffering. And from this understanding of true sufferings, we have the motivation will come about. What are the causes of suffering? Why am I experiencing this? Where does it come from? And that leads us to investigate the truth of suffering. Coming to investigate the truth of suffering, we come to understand the true origins, the origins of suffering. And these are attachment and anger. It's our desire, striving for things that we accumulate causes that lead to suffering. For our anger or aversion towards things that we don't want, we accumulate causes which result in suffering. And as our analysis goes to a subtler level, we see that this comes from ignorance. And amongst the types of ignorance, we'll come to see that it's the ignorance of self-grasping, which will lead us then to want to understand what is meant by ignorance of self-grasping. How do I experience it? And we then will need to come to see how the self appears, and then see how we grasp at the self as existing in the way that it appears. That then leads us, and now having come to a vivid understanding of true origins, we'll look to see if the self really does exist in this way, and we'll investigate and analyze. So this is our presentation we've heard many times in the past, but here we see how Lorig, the presentation of Buddhist psychology, ties in to giving rise to this wish to be freed of suffering, coming to understand how our mind works. We see how that applies directly to cultivating the path within us, from the very outset of generating aspiration, right the way through to the point where we do attain freedom from suffering.
Chesan Taba Yoba to that Taba ten Taba se Toya dus. Chesan that Taba Toya Lam Gomia the Gargongos Dame about to be Jepa Semadi, did Pa Shukya Gomje, Delia Teshuni Bishini Dup, then Laudon do, then Gombus and Bigi, Di Gombala, then that Taba se top to do, Taba Tobe Lam, Yamlen Chedida. She has to take things and come good was and how good. Then how good, then Delia Bezu, she come out, she had 26 things and top, then Dame about to be awesome, Dame awesome to be loading more curious, Najon awesome to like Yavare. Najon awesome Kela Kiadu, Dazin Marik Buggy, that Kunda said, Dazin Marik Badela, Rapa Kunda, the La Chava said, the Kunda said the Payagi, Dazin Payago, goes in the Zuward, Dazin Payagi, go to
Okay, tanto Kokurane Tiktan Kanekona. Gosson, den möchte ich noch haben?
Na Jungos more Juno, then doesn't buy a go to Gordenia, doesn't buy a gata, Masol Malamas on the Monica goes to Design Jesus Chagrovada, then doesn't then Najungos from Guleki, doesn't Gunda winning the Nimbo Guleki Savare. She's not doesn't Gunda Paya go to Gordon.
Cosa? Den I kontakte di gansak tak me rakpare.
Doesn't Rabarwa, Rakunda Rabaje, then Langed the Chagurwa, Charwa. Gansa doesn't Rabasimata. The Korong, the Gansa doesn't Nane, Langed, Gasu Gansa doesn't Nanola, Rabata Chamoyora, just Kunda the Rabache, Cham Langi the Tawachegurwa.
Ah, okay.
The Gansa doesn't Rabala de Yulpa de Mura.
When we come to this, to gain vivid clarity that it's this ignorance of self-grasping that is keeping us bound within the suffering realms of samsara, this is what we'll strive to abandon. And here, through our understanding of Buddhist psychology, we'll know that the ignorance that grasps at the self as being truly existent, it's a consciousness. Amongst the consciousnesses presented in Buddhist psychology, which is it? It's a wrong consciousness. It's a wrong consciousness. What is the antidote to this? It's the selflessness of persons. To the extent that one develops the understanding and the realization of the selflessness of persons, to that extent, one eliminates this wrong consciousness that grasps at the self as being truly existent. And it's through, as we develop the wisdom realizing the selflessness of persons, we come to see that liberation is possible. It's not just something that's presented in the holy texts as something that great beings have done, but we come to gain knowledge that it is possible, and through our meditation experience that this can come about. So this then leads us to have ever greater vigor to develop the path which will lead us to eventually cultivate a yogic direct perception. And we'll know that it's the inferential valid cognizer that realizes the selflessness of persons This is what I need to strive to generate. Having generated that, then, I need to develop powerful calm abiding and later meditative insight, and then the union of the two on that subtle object, which is the selflessness of persons. With this knowledge and gaining experience through our meditative practice, with ease we'll put in the required effort that is needed to bring about the eventual attainment of a yogic direct perception and become an Arya being ourselves. And when that time comes that one develops a yogic direct perception, when one comes to a direct realization of the selflessness of persons, then one eliminates the acquired afflictions. The contact de kola yankya sungtak se contact nyomong de laping hine de person otore.
Ne dazin de kunta sa de lanjin yongruwa se kunta su jumde wangi khorang ada to re sem shu sem de lo rakpa de rakpa chagruwa lanji se di jumde khama san so rang shingi de le lo lanji le ka sa di an pongpa lama de rang mon ju ba na wa na ji jin de ji yorwa de lanji se yorwa.
Okay, so ignore that last bit that I said there about one eliminates acquired afflictions. Again, I didn't say this. So he said, amongst the selflessness of afflictions, there are, amongst selflessness of persons, there are degrees of subtlety. There's the selflessness of persons that is acquired and that which is innate. Of these two, the selflessness of persons that is acquired is coarser, and the selflessness of persons which is innate is subtler.
Denigi nanju ngosum de kege denda la nyamlen che ge jimba ding azu dembashi se aji sungoro wa sang yujumnen digi chongwa dangbo dembashi sungyo dangbo gar sungwa se dunga ge namshadi dunga shingu gures dunga kane kare dunga de yabu ngoshin wa chigires chisa dunga shin na dunga gyudi kares gyudi kunju dembare ha ne kunju de pa banggo gures ore chisa ne kunju bang yo de bangba tarba se toya yore chisa di tobe게 탑 군주 빠야게 람 냠는 제에 가서 람된데레스 지자 군주 동아 대바 군주 대바 고대 람데스 지자 동아 시아바자 동아다 하고 와치 나 하고도 동아 타두게 끼어도 동아 하고도 동아들 타두게 삼바기 그래스 끼어도 동아 규티 제바체데 동아 규티 군주인 바 하고 그래스 지자 군주디 빵야 도미데 제바체데 군주 빵 투고요 바다 하고 투고 그래스 투요데는 고된데 가다 탈바세 다 하고 투고 그래스 제가 타바하고도 다 타바 토익이 람데 수레스는 담에 봐도 별로들이샤 선배 람덴티 콤발레 때네 타바도 그래 디승고로 대시 때네 디승고로 아주 럼름게시 나다가로 럼름 나나 다보 가서 송것은 둥하고 시기도 둥하 삼다나시 때네 둥하들레 타르게 삼바 근데 람 냠는 제다 시고로 찍바 차대 그래 디소 나 돈다 찍바 차고로 되네.
What has been presented there should be something that's very familiar, because this, when you hear teachings in the Lamrim, this is what you're hearing. You hear that first the Buddha taught that suffering needs to be known, the true sufferings. One needs to come to realize, to know suffering. Then one needs to seek out what those origins are, the true origins, because that is what needs to be abandoned. Then thirdly, one needs to see whether one can attain freedom, whether freedom from suffering is possible. And this is when one comes to understand that true cessations which are to be attained is liberation, cessation of suffering. And how to do so? This is the cultivation of the true paths, and these are to be practiced. And the true paths, this specifically then will refer to the selflessness of persons. So that sequence is what we hear in the Lamrim, and it ties in precisely with what we've been hearing here.
le lawa de and me you me toyana and delia pa college mitaba say the gimsen sometime the negia dame was a gimsen sometime jebatsime to ese jebatsime to jebatsema say the you toya delia to migi toma to gi su mayengi the toya chasa jeba taxi jeje gimsen sometime to ese jebatsema to shigoro jebatsema 진짜 gimsen sometime to she or she to la yodo that in 나중 some say gimsen 차야디 제박디 또 아주 두스 조고래서 림바로 디리고 와.
So, die Chikomaso, also Dakme Majup Gongla, also Mitakpa Jopkare, Dengola.
Dame Maruso Marta, Chida, Washi to Matuki, you Mabuti, Toyadige, and Mitaba Sada, Dame Basada, Yaji Benesawal, Chuy Mesada, and Shinaki May Mesa Denegi, Washi to Matuki, you Mambo Rikti Chasa, Gimsen Santa, Jebache, Don di Jebatsama, Elegurwa.
Combining our Lamrim knowledge with what we're learning here in Buddhist psychology in Lorig, we've come to hear then the importance of a valid cognizer, and that a valid cognizer has divisions, of which the first that one attains is an inferential valid cognizer. And so we've heard about valid cognizers, one of which is an inferential valid cognizer. That's a better way to say it. One of which is an inferential valid cognizer. To give rise to an inferential valid cognizer, one has to rely on correct reasoning. And this is because one is coming to realize an object of not of the sense consciousnesses, but of the conceptual consciousnesses. So there are many objects that one comes to realize through reasoning, such as illustrations we've heard in the past, whether there is fire that exists in the forest or not when one cannot see fire, or whether there's water beneath the ground that one cannot see, as well as the topics of the Dharma, such as impermanence and selflessness. So to realize these hidden objects, these hidden phenomena, requires analysis, requires analytical meditation, because this is the process that leads to yogic direct perception, that leads to the eventual attainment of the direct realization of selflessness.
Toba Mayan, Monsum Machuache, and then Shendiki Sheba, Dela, Najun Salagres, Tinjarwa, that Delia, Yawashi and do, that Jibare, Najun Monsum Gube, Temayore, Geshe Yore, Nalama, Dinima de Yoma, Najun Monsum Dela, Temayore, Geshe Yore, Mato, Nalamanga Bada, Disukaya Yomare, Lurudun and Nima de Yomare.
Hopefully then the various components of the definition then will be clear. So, the yogic direct perceiver is generated independent on its uncommon empowering condition, and here that is a stabilization, that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. Then we spoke about what object that needs to be, the observed object, and it is an other knowing exalted knower in a continuum of an Arya being, and the yogic direct perceiver, being the direct perceiver, is non-conceptual and unmistaken. Now the divisions, and here, unlike previously where there were the same three divisions, there are only two. The first one, valid cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers. So would be, for example, a yogic direct perceiver realizing the selflessness of persons. The very first moment of that realization would be a valid cognizer, and the subsequent moments would be yogic direct perceivers that are subsequent cognizers.
and Tangbon you the door de Gorwa, Chewonsum war Toba that Jawonsum war Yusumamado, Tangbon you the door there, which is a Dineza, Najong de la Nalama by your Mares.
So the division that isn't found amongst yogic direct perceivers, but is amongst the other direct perceivers, is that of non-ascertaining. So there's no non-ascertaining awareness that is a yogic direct perceiver. And this is because a yogic direct perceiver necessarily realizes its object. And this is because it comes about independence, as we see in the definition, it comes about independence on its uncommon empowering condition, a stabilization that is a union of calm abiding and meditative insight. So it's a particularly powerful empowering condition. Therefore, the object is necessarily realized. And therefore, there is no division of yogic direct perceivers that are non-ascertaining.
Lorig Chimbo, Tony Le, Nambatam Ching, Everches. Lorig Chimbo, Tony Le, Chizan Lam, Gombi, Topki, Loris and Bed, Shina, Shila, Fontia, Gomje, Lorig Chimbo, Lope, Top Chimbos or Gom Shila, Gombi, Dopi Yudi, Tobares, Toba and Zan, and Gomjin, Yanij, Tobe, Mosum, Order, and Yudi, Gedina. Gedina, you told him at number time you told him about Cabaret Toba, and Cabaret Matoba, the Nick and Gunio Maresor. Cassia Toba, Cassia Matoba, the Neo Mare, Chasan, you don't number time ever says.
And then the text presents as a way of to back up the assertion that's just been made as to why there's no non-ascertaining awarenesses that are yogic direct perceivers, a quote from the Compendium of Valid Cognition. From just seeing, the great intelligent ones ascertain all aspects. Now what that means is, because of the great power of a yogic direct perceiver, the object is always realized. And why is the yogic direct perceiver so powerful? Because of the strength of its empowering condition, namely the union of calm abiding and meditative insight. Because of the great power of this, the object is always realized, and therefore there are no non-ascertaining awarenesses that are yogic direct perceivers.
나중에 유비 지시요래. 나중에 인간 지시 인간 요래스. 그래서 내가 저기 샘진 유기 안에 가 저기 다음에 방송도 담보 동안에 참아지 되게 니버스 발라서 지수 지시를 나중에 해지. 다 군기 이시에서도 나는 델리지고실이요. 군기 이시 기진이 봐. 상 군기 실라는 상이 파부 유 첨바 담보의 참아래 다음에 봐또 비게 상이 파부 유 담보 참아래 되게 기진이 봐디 지시레벨라나 디체시 말해로 상기 유기 예 아니 캠바 간데시나 계지 담보니 버스 뭐 가리나 차상 참아래마도 계지 담보 지시 니버 가서 계지 담보 참아 계지 니바데 숨바 지시에서 디네 말해서 그렇다 군기시 계지 니바다 보니 지시 마인데 군기시나 참아인 고래 참아임에 켜위 칠송도.
Now the text continues, so in middle page 5 in the second last paragraph. Although subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers exist, the second moment and so forth of an omniscient exalted wisdom are not subsequent cognizers, because whatever is an omniscient exalted wisdom is necessarily a valid cognizer. So let's take the first part of the sentence. Although subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers exist, so this then relates to the divisions of yogic direct perceiver. The second division is subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers. So they exist, it's here in the divisions. They only though exist in the continuum of sentient beings. In other words, non-Buddhas. So they only exist in the continuum of Arya beings who are not Buddhas. So subsequent cognizers only exist in the continuum of Arya beings who are non-Buddhists, subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers. And this is because, and then it goes on, the second moment and so forth of an omniscient exalted wisdom, in other words, the omniscient consciousness of a Buddha, are not subsequent cognizers, because whatever is an omniscient exalted wisdom, in other words, the omniscient consciousness of a Buddha, is necessarily a valid cognizer. So for an Arya being who is not a Buddha, The first moment of their realization is a valid cognizer. The second and subsequent moments are subsequent yogic direct perceivers, which are subsequent cognizers. But for an Arya being that is a Buddha, this is not the case. Each and every moment of their realization is a yogic direct perceiver that is a valid cognizer. Each and every moment. And therefore, there are no subsequent cognizers that are yogic direct perceivers in the continuum of a Buddha. So at that point we'll stop for this morning. We still have a little bit of time, so if you have some questions, then now's the time to ask. Andy?
So you said that one of the divisions of mind could be main minds, or I'm going back to main minds or mental factors, but self-knowers are not in either of those divisions. So then that precludes it from being a mind.
Okay. A question from last night when you're looking at self-knowers.
That's just part of my question.
Okay. So it was a division of consciousness or awareness that we haven't come to yet, much later in the text, is with awareness being divided into main minds and mental factors. And it was said last night that a self-knower is precluded. It's not a main mind and it's not a mental factor. So then, and I need to ask it this way, is then, if that's the case, then is a self-knower still consciousness? Because in that division of main minds and mental factors, main mind and mind is synonymous. So if I say, I say, then is self-knower not mind? I'll say, of course not, because it's not a main mind. It's a consciousness, yeah? Okay. Deni rangi kola kati yare, deni dangong semdan semchung yewa jena, deni rangi yomare sumchung, deni de yena, deni kares rangi se yede shepare, de gyutsen dempa mare, de ha kogi mare. Kasi shepa yena, deni semyomene semchung mare, yini rangi shepa yena semare, semchung mare.
Jisa korang tsugi Lorig Session semna semjo kaya maenge jik semjo sheba shawure. Kare lana semina dikolia injimi ju kundu yo kureche. Kundu sowa dushe semba ila cheba rabas yo kures. Jisa Lorig la diyan yo mares. Semina kol kundu yo kure. Semjo ina di kol dera di zo dila semna yo semchi yo kure. Jisa semna semjo ni kiti na nyamdu dhukur ma to sem chibu ro semju meeting semju chibu semju me din yo mares chesa Lorig Session dela semna semju ga me hor chibu yiting sheba chiyo res dinde chile na sha ores utwa chesa Lorig de sheba re garsan sheba imi gyumja garsan korong yu do du so yu ri go res chesa korong da gen yiwang le dine ki go res chesa ko su ni mare dembe ji ko yu do du was chesa dine sa 유도한 데라 야나 가사치다 야나 셰바치니 마도요 말에 세상 가사 말에 고 셰바래 세상 유시고 도고 와서 유지 도고 도스데고 셰바 또 한지 권고고래 셰바하고 건데 라릭 마도요 말에 세월다.
Self-know, does it realize its object? Yes. So if it realizes its object, it's an object possessor, because it possesses or it realizes its object. It's object possessor. So if it's an object possessor, what is it? It's self-know, yeah? If it's an object possessor, so this is, I think on the second page, we have 3 types of object possessors. Is it an awareness or is it a person? Well, it's not a person, so it's an awareness. If it's an awareness then, so it is therefore an awareness. And the reason it is not a main mind and a mental factor, but it is an awareness, is because main minds and mental factors always accompany each other. There's not mental factors without a main mind, there's not a main mind without mental factors. And a self-knower is not accompanied by mental factors, in particular the omnipresent ones. So the omnipresent mental factors accompany every main mind. So there's the self-knower is not accompanied by the 5 omnipresent mental factors of feeling, discrimination, intention, mental engagement, and contact. So therefore, it cannot be a main mind or a mental factor, because these necessarily are accompanied by the omnipresent mental factors. But it is still awareness, because it's an object possessor. So that's their answer. So it possesses its object, so it has to be an awareness or a person. And we say, therefore, it is an awareness, it's not a person. But if it falls into the category of main mind or mental factor, it has to be accompanied by the 5 omnipresent, but it's not. So therefore it's outside of that division, but remains an awareness.
So it's simultaneous with the eye sense consciousness seeing a flower, it appears simultaneous with that.
Yes. So,
Yeah, then so surely then, if it's simultaneous with that at that time, it must also know the object of the eye sense consciousness.
yes.
It must know the flower.
Oh, the object of the eye sense consciousness. Okay. So if the self-knower, as the self-knower is simultaneous with the sense consciousness realizing a flower, eye sense consciousness realizing a flower, surely it should also, in addition to knowing the sense consciousness, also know its object, the flower.
And so it seems to me that if it doesn't, then one of them's got to be a non-ascertaining awareness.
Okay. And if it doesn't, then one of them needs to be a non-ascertaining awareness. Okay. Kedisong deni rangni kola kati sempa yere. Deni miki wampe shepa yul metok toki yere. Deni miki wampo shepa de rangrik miki wangse de toki yere. Yini miki wampa shepa de tokna, deni miki wampa shepa ki yu metok de yang tokere. Yes, I'm kidding. Deni di majena, deni yang mena miki wampa shepa, yang mena rangrik de nangwa nepa re. Yes, I'm kidding.
Nangla machi korongo yu zo di miki number shepa jingyo mato meto jingyo mare. 미기 셰바 냠송요 라레 디기 술 때고르스니 미기 셰바 딜라 따디고로 따고르지 징고래 미기 셰바 디기 메돌 때고르와 미기 셰바 냠송요 라레 코롱기 메도 징케 셰바 딜라 따고르와 셰바 딜 때고 그래서 미기 셰바 냠송요 라레 디기 미기 셰바 코롱 징고르 미기 셰바 또 고레스 다 미기 셰바 또요도 디 슈라 가라 하고 그래서 미기 셰발에 메도 나와 또 그랬어요. 나와 또 그래지. 근데 징거 말에.
가리난기래.
미기 셰발에 메도 난 거로. 메도 난거 받아 하고 두 그래지래. 이데 슈라 하고 그러면 대응어서 지야디 메도 진비 미기 셰발 그런 징거래. 봐도 메도 징거 말 메도 난거 말에. 이네 메도 어서 메도 진비 셰발에 어서 또 베게 디 슈라 아니 메도
Okay, good. So, first to recap, and then the question to answer the question. The self-knower only has as its object only consciousness, nothing but consciousness. That's the object of a self-knower. The I-sense consciousness has, as you said, as an object such as a flower. So the flower appears to the I-sense consciousness and is realized, and the self-knower realizes the I-sense consciousness, but not the flower, because its object is only consciousness. However, the flower implicitly appears to the self-knower, but is not realized. So it's not ascertained, it's not realized, it's not ascertained. So the object of the sense consciousness appears to the self-knower of the sense consciousness, but is not realized or not ascertained. But an object, its object, the self-knower's object, is ascertained, and that its explicit object, the consciousness. Okay? Good. Okay. Gyatso?
In the illustrations for non-ascertaining self-knowers, there are 3 very strange illustrations. But isn't the self-knower just an ordinary non-ascertaining perception? Isn't that also an example of non-ascertaining?
Other than these three examples, some other awareness that is a non-ascertaining awareness, does it too not have a self-know, and would that self-know therefore too not be non-ascertaining? Okay, good. Then rangi kolakachi yore. Then rangi nunsum gyupe nangnamanepa de so sung betsen kashi yore. Then samso sempa yore. Ngaso lorig du nangnola chik nangmanepa. Then ngaso nangmanepa karine kong yang rangrig yore. Then rangrig de yang nangmanepa re marepe.
Nala mangi bigi nala mabe sheba nyamsunyo rari koron ane nala bar chagiribe chagimare landa de chasa kashi nala ma inge yungsigire chasa nala ma ba insig mare kashi nala ko nala ma ine ko yudi to to gaje yungure to ba yungure asene anganju karaso onga dehi ngalchi denis na so de 나디 아우마스스 비 템비 대게 수하고 그것은 라디디기 징고로와 제가 델이야 나라망이 불로 냠송이 라디텔라 나라망바 잉에 용구레 또바 유 밀로아 잉에요 니가 용구레 밀로아 또 유도 한 참마다 지시 잉에 용구레 나라망이 니가 용시가 돼
디디 코네디 밀로아 데 칙포야
나라망바 냠송이 라디텔라 nāla māngā pa yīnghe yore, milua yīnghe yore. Milua tila chamāda jishi niga yorwa.
So your question was, just any non-ascertaining awareness we have, is it accompanied by a self-known? If so, surely that self-knower is a non-ascertaining awareness. Some agree with what you say, some do not. So some will say that a non-ascertaining awareness has a self-knower, and some say it's not. So those who assert the very existence of a self-knower say that it is the presence of a self-knower that is the basis for memory. And so a non-ascertaining consciousness, if it has a self-knower, then that too would be non-ascertaining because there is no basis for memory. Yeah? And Gena said one more thing, I just want him to repeat it because I didn't get it right. Milua ken yankya sunrta. Milua.
Nala me nyamsu nyu rari dele milua inga yore labde milua dele chamada jishi niga yorwa. Milua na topa yorwa. Chisa nala ma be chamba nyamsu nala ma lo nyamsu nyu rari dela nala ma lo tohan je yore es yore. Ma tohan yore niga yore es yore.
Then milua yana the rangrig de nangwane palo mare karensa toksong
mare jesa nala mangabo lo nyamsunyo rare digi milua inna te togo ro to ba ensan ko nala ma mare che dene ma to ba inna ta nala ma cha ko re che.
Those who agree with you would say that the consciousness is non-ascertaining, therefore self-know is non-ascertaining. Others would say no. The self-knower is incontrovertible, which means it realizes its consciousness. The self-knower of a non-ascertaining awareness realizes its non-ascertaining awareness. So there is a self-knower, and it's not non-ascertaining. It's a valid cognizer, or it's a subsequent cognizer. So there are two views.
So I realized that as I was asking the question.
Kati shube kabla, ngedi tokpayin. Another question? Yes.
I'm just wondering about the sense powers and there being uncommon empowering conditions for the sense perceivers. And you mentioned that they are physical. I'm just wondering, it's not a manifest form, but it's not form. Is it a subtle type of form?
Okay, so the sense direct perceivers, their uncommon empowering condition is a sense power. So is that form a subtle form? Is it a manifest form? So, can you tell us a bit more about that? Deni wampung ngunsum, deni kongi dakien, the Suki Wampore. Deni Wampo Suk Chenpare. Deni de Suk Trasing Chamo Yamane di Ngungyu ki Suk Yamane Karire.
나 데니기 아주 미기 원부기 다기 미원 세디 나랑 졸라 나랑 소스기 볼라 가소레 가소르티 고교레서 신도 고교레서 신도 고교 차기레서 나 지당 자상라 신도 고교 차기를 위해서는 다시 자기 말에다데 파과다 소리야 신도 고교 차기 말에 나랑 졸로버시네 신도 고교레서 나양 선직 위토네 즉 양은 지게 변에 다시게 추식이 통에 지 미원보다 통투 예배나 아무서 되네 통투 예나 콘솔이야 네 가서 고교 신도 고교 자교 말아와 고교 자교 말아 그 원숨 가서 신도 고교 세례 자교 말아와.
For ordinary people such as ourselves, the subtle form that is the sense powers is a very hidden phenomenon. However, I believe that probably Arya beings, they can realize this subtle form. But for us, it's very hidden. The scientists, even with their current development of instrumentation, they too cannot realize this subtle form. So for us, it remains a very hidden phenomenon, but I do believe Aryas can realize this.
디 소야 디 내가 숨비 갑려야 아니 나즈레 소소기버들이 숨고라 나 소소기버래 신도 고교래서 제가 니네 인장 알아주기 제바 제제 니네기 그 도토야게 요말 지상 상이게 소야라 이시점이 이체바 점이 켈레네 마도 이시제네 도고마도 아니 미기 오보여 예비 김천디레서 다권에 남상 도토야 갖고래서 지난 저기 무슨 도토면 지난 신도 고교에 사시고를 디나시레다 베네간 저기 라요레세 베네 숨지 자숨 라요레세다 아니 수감 수메 라요레세데 나저 베네 리용보 계신세 요레세 디소 안주 두불라 신도 고교 차대요 그래서 지금 요레세 지 수에 빼지나 손셔버디 이시제제 이시기 돈에 제바제제 아니 또야레마도 저기 제 김선 삼다 도토야 가보자고 그랬는데 대소령도 신도 고교 지당 신도 고교 말할 때 나아서 신도 고교래서 미기 원보대 지당 신도 고교 말할 때 나아서 신도 고교래서 뭘 빼지나라 신도 고교를 송하디 나아서 저벌 송 신도 고교래서 뭐래 지래.
The reason why this the subtle form of the sense powers is a very hidden phenomenon for us is because through relying on analysis and reasoning, we cannot come to realize this, ordinary people like ourselves. And Buddha, when he taught this subtle form, he was teaching to ordinary beings, and he taught that this was a very hidden phenomenon. So the only way we can come to understand this is in dependence on our trust in the Buddha and the Buddha's teachings. We can't come to realize it for ourselves independence on reasoning. And this is the case for other very hidden phenomena. So for example, we read in the Buddhist texts about the heaven of the 33 gods. Now, we have no direct perception of whether this exists or not, or whether it's just a story. We cannot realize this for ourselves based on reasoning. So therefore, the only way we can accept this is based on our conviction of the validity of the teachings of the Buddha. So therefore, for ordinary beings such as ourselves, the subtle form of the sense powers, the existence or not of the gods in the heaven of the 33, this is something we cannot realize through reasoning. Therefore, it's a very hidden phenomenon. But that is not necessarily the case for all beings. There will be others who are developed sufficiently that they can realize this on the basis of reasoning. In the back, yes.
Does this, in relation to self-knowledge, does this, the ability to be aware of consciousness, does this mean this function is also not entirely accessible to us, normal beings?
The self-know, which has as its object solely consciousness, is the self-know itself something that an ordinary being can't realize? Yeah? Okay. Then Rangyupa, Rangyopa. Rangri kongi yu shepare. Dene rangri kongyang anatomy pelpa. Rangri gyang tok tupki marepe. Kongyang trasin chamorepe.
당하는 저기 김제 삼단의 제바제제 도투구샤가 도고래.
Dene rangting kari. Die gyusum nanglola di nipare. Dene.
신 중세 고교체가
중세 교교 말에 디 중세 교교.
나절라 내 고교차로라서 고대 김제 삼단 제바제 도고로.
For ordinary beings such as ourselves, amongst the three forms of objects, it's not manifest, this is for sure, but it is a hidden object, because through reasoning we can come to realize that it exists or otherwise. Therefore it's not the third type of object of very hidden, but the middle type of hidden. Okay.
I also had a question
Sure.
about non-ascertaining awarenesses.
Mm-hmm.
What is there a function to non-ascertaining awareness?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah. What is the purpose of it? Why is it presented? Yeah. What's its function?
Why is it there, or is there a function to it, or does it just exist? It's just that someone's looked around and found that it's there.
Okay.
And
Yeah. So it does have a function or not, with a purpose to it. Lorig du nanglola nangmane lo yare. De karijene de yare. Di to lorig dun to de drisong je sang yare. Yamene kong yamene Dr. Jekin di ragsong. Yamene di jaw yare, di chik trupki yare, di migyo yare, migyo mare, di chik jegi yare.
나리 샤고에도 김장가리라고.
Nangmane palo.
알레 나
Nangmane palo. 가르치는 뒤열에 그래서 또 나서다에 야면에 딱수 체크는 너그 동성 야면에 공기 자와 공기 가리 줍게 가르치는 열에 penyon 가리래
penyon 나라마글로 하고 해기 penyon 가르세요. 라니마글로 그런 연구에 가르세요.
그렇습니까?
나라마글로 세디 가르스는 그런 유낭신 망해봐도 마도비기 내가 빈자 될래 나라마 로식으로 나라마 세야 돼. 유이디 된지나 맞아봐 싸와 낭겨때 그런 게 또 마투바 인자 그 낭시 망해봐라 해서 그래. 다 나라마 로치데 그런 게 되니지래. 아주 로 되니 연구를 아주 낭을 있나양 아주 또 마투바 준 거래. 되니게 또 마투비 로데라 된지나 맞아봐 싸와 낭겨내야 또 마투비 로데라 민가로서 나라마 로식라 그래. 디나라 몰로다 하고나 차와라 가요래 판도 가요래나 제상 아주기 낭제 탐제라 나와 좀 디바진나 근데 디바진나 노르 차고로 와 나도 어디를 남는 남자 노르 차고로 그 또요 말와 세명해 봐 많이 봐도 디인다 마이세 타셔다나 타셔바나 아니 노르 가나 남는 줘야게 내가 요로 디네자 나라망이 불러대 하고 봐이나 어디디 나라마 로인자 녜요 말이지 나와 나시로 나와 딱다 이민이 가서 하고 또 말했으면 자와를 마주 봐야게 benenganzo dokson cheada ande nige kyaba yunguru wa
de kona di tamade di penyon dang de yang kya song rok dang kana konda
nang la manga ba ina lo de ta ta yin ba ha mo na le na de odire sen da ba mi ji kuma yin ba so so nang ge no so so ge kuma yin ba ya po cheme manga ba na ko kuma re la no de chimo cha yin ga yo wa an ji yang ji ja le ding wen de yin ba na wa ji le yang ji so so ge di yin ba de cheme ma do na 어디 말에 남나 너도 좀 잘게 지금 나라만 그 로스야디요나 코체마 말에스 마연자 나라만 그 로레 나와나 신경 주게 남사 디다레다 말에서 타주지나 아니 디고 말에서 디니기 아니 신야기 나라만 하고나 아니 디니기 캬브라 신야기 캬브라 여러와
사보가서 the purpose so then a non-ascertaining awareness is an awareness to which an object does appear, but is not realized, or it's not ascertained. So we have many illustrations of where we perhaps engage in one thing, but something, other objects do appear to our senses, but we don't realize them. So that's, in general, so that is what the non-ascertaining awareness is. It's, or the literal way to translate this, I use the shortened form, because the literal form is really long. Object that appears but is not ascertained. So it's a little bit longer. So that's really literally, the object appears to an awareness but it's not ascertained, it's not realized. The purpose of us coming to understand about this mind that we have is we tend to be very definite in our convictions about many things. It is like this, it isn't like that, this is right, this is wrong. We're very definite in our convictions. And these convictions that we are so definite about are often not based on valid cognition. So when we hear about non-ascertaining awarenesses, this starts to loosen our grasping at things too firmly. For example, our opinions about someone. So we say, oh, this person, not trustworthy, they're dishonest, they're a thief. But what we may be basing that view on is not necessarily a valid cognizer. So here is an example of where our view that we're grasping very strongly to is not in accordance with reality. So when we think about non-ascertaining awarenesses, it starts to loosen this grasping that how we perceive things is unmistaken, is correct. And this is something that we do very strongly and leads to many problems. So this is the purpose of understanding these awarenesses that we have. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.